Are we gonna be able to see the comments and stuff too?
Yep. You'll see.
I end or just your end?
Yeah, it'll be on Four Fantastic Events. If actually we're on live now. What's up, guys? Welcome to the front room show here with Four Fantastic Events. I have my guest today is Al, DJ Do It Like This, Martinez. For those people who are just tuning in, don't know, like you just want you guys to, definitely come on and show some love. Al, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are to some people?
Man, well, again, my name is Al. I'll do it like this. I've been DJing for going on 34 years now. So I'll tell you my age.
You started when you were 2, right?
Absolutely. Started off, man, just house parties, basement DJ, house, backyard parties, whatever, man, and grew up from there. So love what I do, and I think I'm gonna die with my turntables in my hand.
I think all us DJs are gonna do that.
Yeah.
So Al, what area of Chicago did you start off with?
What do you mean? I grew up in the Wrigleyville area, so I pretty much stayed primarily onto the north side of Chicago, northwest. So that's where I grew up, and that's pretty much where I stayed around.
Okay, so 34 years ago, I'm guessing you were doing vinyl.
Yeah, all analog, my friends, all analog.
Okay, and you were DJing mostly. What were you DJing? House music, hip hop. What were you doing?
At that time, I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I was about 10 years old. I actually, the whole story about this was I wanted a boombox for Christmas, and my dad's a car mechanic, and he did a job for some guy, and the guy couldn't pay him, so he gave him this DJ equipment as collateral. Well, again, I was asking for a boombox for Christmas because that's when all the breakdancing movies and stuff were out, and I was like, all right, cool. So so my dad turned around and he was like, hey, I don't know about a boombox, but here, take this. This is DJ equipment. I'm like, what the hell am I gonna do with this, man? I'm fucking 10 years old, So I'm like, all right, whatever. So I got grounded one day. And I was grounded for about a month. So yeah, man, I did something pretty bad. So at that point in time, it took me a couple of years to actually figure out how to hook this stuff up. Actually, a couple of months, and then it's a snowball from there, So.
All right. Well, that's the first. That's the first for getting. So what was the music that you first started with? What was the format that you like?
It was pretty much it was the house stuff because my sister listened to house music, and she was into that Duran Duran and stuff like that, as well as getting into freestyle at that time. So that's primarily what I was listening to. So I started figuring stuff out, and then she dated a DJ, and he kind of helped me out and gave me some records and stuff like that. So, and then like I said, it just snowballed from there.
All right. Well, so you were 10 years old, let's say 11 years old and stuff like that. Were you DJing in the backyard? Were you DJing for whoever called you up, or how was that?
Bedroom DJ, man. Basement and bedroom. That's all I did, man. At that time, I was, I actually got my first house party probably when I was about 13 years old. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, 13 years old. So I mean, throughout that process or that time frame, that's I put a lot of time and effort into learning the trick and learning the style. And back then there was no YouTube or anything like that, so it was all
I know. All right, so I mean, so you did your first house party, and then where did it go from that? From doing your first house party, how did you get into, and then ultimately to your nickname?
Oh man, that's I get that question all the time. How did you come up with I'll Do It Like This? Well, come the turn of my freshman year in high school, we started getting introduced to house parties, when daytime parties, stuff like that. And I was always hanging around with the older crew. So we started doing that. And then my buddy was designing, we were graffiti artists as well back in the day. So he was designing the flyer, back in the day, the Xerox copies and stuff like that. And he was designing the flyer. He was like, yo, man, it was 3 of us. We were all sitting in my basement at the time. and I was DJing and teaching one of my buddies how to DJ. And he was like, "So what's up, man? I'm gonna finish this flyer. What do you want your name to be?" He was like, "We can't put Al Martinez. That's too lame, man. You need a DJ name for you." So then, yeah. So again, I was training my buddy, and my buddy was like, "Hey, is this how it's done? Should I do it like this?" And I said, "No, man, you're doing it wrong. Do it like this." And then I just started getting aggravated because he kept, "Hey, man, I need to finish this flyer right now. We need to turn it in." And I was aggravated by him and aggravated by him. So he turned around and he was just like, I said, "Bro, I told you to do it like this." He goes, "That's your fucking DJ name. I'll do it like this." And I said, "All right." And 30 something later, bro, I'm still got it, man. So yeah, that's where that name came from.
Well, that's a good. That's good. I mean, hey, everybody, the world now knows that's how you got your name. That's good. So, I guess breakdancing was a big factor in your early days, and that's what you were telling me that you were. Did you do any breakdancing? Is that what you did? You did some of that?
Yeah, I was. I kind of started hanging towards the b-boys section of that, and hanging out with a bunch of people. Again, we hung out, with Lane Tech guys and Gordon Tech guys, and and going to all the parties and stuff like that. And that's when I started getting deeper into it, So and
so my connection with.
I'm sorry.
Okay, so you know my connection with breakdancing, right? You know that,
no.
right? You know my connection. Oh, okay. Oh, so you don't know I'm the president of the Floor Masters?
Oh, really?
Yeah, wow, I'm the president I'm the one. I'm the one who created breakdancing here in Chicago, but basically the first group to have breakdancing here. So I was the president of the
Okay.
So that was what that was my connection with breakdancing. 1979, 81. That's kind of where we first started, breakdancing.
Right.
And I think when you were breakdancing, it already had its roots, and there were other crews all over, all over Chicago and stuff like that. Right. That was. So I wasn't sure if you knew that or not. The breakdancing.
I'm gonna be honest with you. At that time, I'm totally oblivious to that. That's awesome. I didn't know that. We're not even gonna go to the years that you just said, because when 70, I was
trust me, I'm proud of the fact that I am old. I'm from, like we talk about. That is probably the oldest.
What we call the OGs, right? That's why you got so much respect, man. So
thank you, appreciate that. So I mean, that's the whole thing with the breakdancing, and and I'm very proud of the fact that b-boys had a big influence in DJs, because I know a lot of guys and graffiti artists as well. One of my best friends is Ray. Ray One. I don't know if you know him as well. And then Caesar Fess is another guy that, I mean, all these guys were graffiti artists and stuff like that. And you need a graffiti artist kind of with the music. That was kind of the thing that a lot of people did. And I know Al Cisnero from Janelle's used to, graffiti artists as well to, to do all the designs and stuff like that. And I'm sure Pronto Printer back in the days got some of their ideas, Martino Ramos and stuff like that, so that was important in that scene. And a lot of people don't realize that is part of Chicago culture in the house music per se. There's the break dancers, there's the graffiti artists, there's the DJs. And if you remember in discussion with a bunch of the guys, it wasn't called house music back then. It was called just dance music is that we were doing. And breakdancing music was kind of the funk music coming out of New York and stuff like that. So we were playing a little bit of, b-boy music per se. And I know you mentioned the word freestyle. I know that played a little part in a lot of the breakdancing music, because there was that freestyle beats that were coming out in New York. So that was important to a DJ like you getting into the music. So I'm guessing you went to Lane Tech. Is that what you're telling us, that you went to Lane Tech?
I actually went to St. Benedict. I went to St. Benedict from all the way to junior year of high school. So
okay, and
then I went to.
where did the music take you then?
I'm sorry?
I'm sorry. I said, where did the music take you from that point? From after high school?
You were breaking up at the time. I'm sorry.
Sorry. So where did the music take you from that point after high school?
So from that point, man, obviously in the world of DJing, man, you start meeting people, and then from there I started meeting a lot of other DJs and friends, and I mean, and everybody back in those days was pretty tight. I mean, you know, there was very little beef. You know what I mean? You know, it was pretty much at that point we were the gang affiliation thing was pretty harsh back then. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, at that point, it was pretty much the party crews and then the gangbangers, and you know what I'm saying. And we used to band together. So at that point, you know, just started hanging out, met the guy from Top Rock, you know, and then I formed my own crew at the time, CVO, Chicago's very own, and we were around for a while. I mean, we took the team to about, I think there was like 75 of us at one point.
Oh, wow.
You know?
Wow.
Yeah, and it ranged everything from dancers to, you know, to event planners and the whole 9 yards. And I mean, we just formed like Voltron and just, you know, and did our thing. So.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that, because I think that's part of the culture that a lot of people don't realize, is that there was a crew of people that basically, like you said, there were dancers, there were DJs, they were graffiti artists. There were people that were kind of like, okay, we're going to do a party, and you knew 75 people of the same crew were going to get together, and you did whatever you did. You know, if you did it at a house, or you did it in a backyard, if you did it at the Forest Preserve, or you did it at, you know, at a venue, you guys knew that you had your 75 people that would follow you, and you know, guys, girls, and you know, just everybody would come together and say, okay, this is what's going to happen on a Saturday night or Friday, or, you know, whatever or daytime parties, as you mentioned.
Right. Man, man, you're bringing back some good memories, man, you know? But yeah, like I said previously, that, I mean, the party crews back in those days pretty much band together. I mean, some of them had beef, you know, they squashed it, whatever, you know, it is what it is, you know? But yeah, it doesn't, you know, obviously Top Rock TVO was pretty tight. We had Untouchables, you know, we had, you know, all those crews back in the day that were pretty tight-knit. I mean, you know, we support each other and, you know, come to each other's parties and stuff like that. So that was pretty cool.
And so that was right after high school, right? That was right after high school that you did that?
Like towards the end of high school. I want to say, you know, junior, senior year of high school.
Okay.
That's when I started popping off. You know, then I started working at.
Did you do anything with mixtapes or anything like that? Did you go into any of that?
Man, I mean, I had some mixtapes out there, you know, but there was nothing that, you know, I was like bootlegging or out all the time, you know, dropping myself off. At that point in time, I was, you know, trying to focus my time on you know, clubs and doing parties and, you know, stuff like that. Mixtapes wasn't really my thing.
Okay. Okay, so what was your first club that you actually did? Your first professional gig, or you would say that would be?
I'm gonna say my first promotional gig was Alcatraz. Was back in the day was Alcatraz.
Okay.
As far as like
that would with Al Cisneros.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And wasn't Alcatraz more alternative, or was that more, you know?
I mean, it was more house music that you know, they were doing kind of like the mix up, you know what I'm saying, sometimes, but the majority of the time, when I as long as I can remember, it was house music. You know,
okay.
That's when we had,
all right. So
on the staircase or on the ladder, and the DJ booth was on the second floor against the wall.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. If that was, and so you were in the, I want to say it was the third generation of Al Cisneros, because he had the first Janelles, the second Janelles, and third Janelles. Then he had Alcatraz. That was on Green Street, right? Green by Chicago Avenue. That was the Alcatraz that was there. And that was and I know he had a big following. I know there was. Did you have any part of the promotion when it came to that with the Alcatraz?
I said, I mean, my party crew used to come, hang out with me, stuff like that. I mean, we put each other, or he put us on the flyer, and we promote as much as possible, but the majority of the time it was my guys that had my back, and they were always there for me. I obviously, because again, the DJ world and the party world were like I said, like a tight community back in those days. So I mean, the majority of the people that were there, we already knew, you know what I'm saying? So they'd come support and hang out, and so.
Did you ever get into the mobile aspect of it, or was it always strictly from?
Yeah, no, definitely. I got into the mobile aspect. I've been doing mobiles for probably about, I mean, if you want to consider, I mean, like real like weddings and stuff like that. I did my first wedding when I was 15. I mean, it was for a family member, but I mean, I liked it, and it was pretty cool. So that pretty much snowballed from there. I was doing like, smaller, quinceañeras and stuff like that back in the day, so I mean, yeah, probably about 15 years old is when I started my mobile.
Yeah, I mean, talking to the other guys, I think that was one of the things that a lot of the DJs would talk about, is that they had their mobiles and they had their professional, club gigs and stuff like that. And
Right.
mobiles were kind of something that was always there, that actually kind of supported. Basically, let's put it honestly. I think you and probably all the other DJs, that we all did the same thing. We made money and we would buy records with that, whatever we made from the mobile.
Exactly. I mean, to make money, you got to spend money. You know what I'm saying? So,
right.
In those days, and you'd go to gramophones or Just Dance or, stuff like that, and you'd buy a stack of records, $150 right there in that little stack of records. And you're like, damn. And then you go back and you play them, you're like, oh, B-side sucks. You only got one track. It's like, all right. And then you buy the doubles, you know what I'm saying? So it would be double, so you can get to the track or the break quicker. So yeah, man, my back still hurts from those days, going down there with and the dolly with security walking you through to the DJ booth. Yeah, man, those were pretty fun though.
Yeah, those are good memories. I know that. So from Alcatraz, where did you venture out after that? Where was that?
We were doing a lot of stuff. Ann Sathers, you remember? We were doing a bunch of stuff up and down Milwaukee Avenue back in the days, up in the second floor in the loft areas. People were getting rented out. Then I ventured off and went to Medusa's, and I was actually mixing for White Knight at the time. I was doing some stuff with Nick and working with him closely, and at that time, we did a concert over at Medusa's at Congress Theater. So at that point, I met Dave Medusa through Nick, and then me and Dave became good friends, and then I started mixing for him in the front room of Congress Hall when it was over there. So that was an experience.
At the Congress, when they had the Congress, right? That was in Congress. Nick, and I've known Nick for quite a long time. I knew Nick when he had hair, actually. So, no, but no. Nick and I, we go. You know what? And if you run into Nick, you tell him that I ran into him at Starbucks. It was about 5 months ago. I ran into him at Starbucks, and he was sitting there with his computer, and I didn't even see Nick in almost like 10 years. I think I forgot what club he was doing. That was the last time I seen him. But if we, most of these guys, and just like you, Al, we talk to each other on the phone, so we don't get to see each other, or we talk to each other on Facebook and stuff like that. We hardly get to sit down and talk. And one of the things I conveyed with everybody, and especially like you, I'm glad you're doing this, is because I get a chance to talk to you. Finally, really sit down and talk to you, because like, as I always say, you see me at a club, or I'll see you at a club, and I'll see you for the hour that you're there. And hey, what's up? How you doing? Hey, here's a beer, blah, blah, blah. But we don't get and sit down and talk, stuff like that. That's the unfortunate thing in this business when it comes to DJs with DJs. We'll talk, we'll congratulate, we'll be be together, but we don't really talk to each other. That's one thing that I unless you're in that crew, then you guys get to talk to each other. But as far as other DJs, I think that's important because now people get to hear your story, and that's beautiful. I think that's everybody. So here you are. You work for Sathers. You work for. You said you worked for Nick.
Yeah.
Where did you go from there? Where was your?
Well, you know what? After that, after all that happened, I was again went back to house parties, and then I kind of took a hiatus after that. Obviously, the birth of my daughter, my first daughter.
Okay.
So and then so I I kind of like laid back for a little while, and then I came back, and I didn't give him 100% because I didn't know if that's exactly what I wanted to do between my job, my daughter, and things, just life in general. At that point, that's when it's sink or swim. So yeah. So after that, I took a hiatus, and then I came back, and I was doing side stuff and little stuff here and there, but I wasn't 100% like I used to be. Then I came back, and then I took another leave of absence, and then when I came back, pretty much that's when CVO kind of disbanded. Everybody pretty much went their own way. They had kids, life took over. That's when Top Rock Tibble was actually doing sluggers back in the day. So he started doing sluggers, and me and him, we always kept in contact. We always
didn't he own a record store at one point?
Yeah. It was Top Rock Records over there by Church High School.
Right. Yeah. So he sold my mixtapes and CDs at his store. That's how I knew.
Brother, they were selling socks and underwear in the back room, bro. I swear to God, man. They had everything and anything, bro. I'm telling you. Legal. Everything and anything legal, guys.
Yes. But no. That's how I remember him because, at one point I was selling to, I think it was like 36 record stores in here. And I know I was doing, from the guys that were all the way in like Lincolnwood to the guy, and it was these guys, and I got to give them a lot of respect because they treated me with respect, and I think they found it amazing. Here I am, doing my mixtapes and CDs, and that was in 2001. They were selling I remember selling my CDs, and they were just amazed because here I am, a Latin DJ or a Latin mixtape, and there's a guy who doesn't speak a word of Spanish. So I remember that was the whole thing. They were, because if I'm not mistaken, he wasn't Latin. He was Arabic, right, or Indian or something like that. Civil, right?
Yeah, he's Indian.
Yeah, that's what I remember. That, and I remember me and him had a discussion about, I have Indian music I used to DJ as well. So, it was just, for him, it was like, what, you don't speak? I said, I don't speak Spanish either. Don't worry about it. I'll play whatever I have because for me, it's about music. It's not about the language, So I remember he was a great guy and stuff like that. And I think I ran into him maybe about 15 years ago was the last time I ran into him. Maybe 2005, 2006. And I think it was, I could be wrong on this, but it was with Pound, DJ Pound. I remember they had a.
So the Three Musketeers at that shop 24/7 was Tibble, Pound, and Miracle. Those are the three guys. You can go there.
Yes.
And Miracle's behind the deck, just pushing out juke freestyle mixes in the back. I mean, stores, the lights are off, everybody's in the back. Miracle's up in the booth making music or making a mixtape, selling them out the back, whatever, man. So it was good times, definitely. Hey, shout out to Tom. He actually gave me a shot over at Just Dance too. I worked at Just Dance for a while too.
Okay, cool.
Tom back in the day gave me the shout out.
I know. I remember. So are you aware that I don't know if you knew this about Pound? When I used to make my CDs, my mixtapes and CDs, I used to buy in bulk. I mean, this is a true story. I used to buy in bulk because I wanted to get the best price of so I would buy in bulk. And what Pound did for me was he hired these 4 kids, and I mean 4 kids. We're talking about little 10-year-old to 12-year-old, and he bought a shrink wrapper, and I dropped off the spools of CDs to him, and I would give him the J cards for the CDs, and I would buy all the plastic, and they would pack it up for me out of that record store. They would pack it up for me, and in fact, one of the kids to this day, he's always comes up to me and his name is Jason. I don't know if you know him, Puerto Rican guy. He's doing successful in his business. And anytime he sees me, he tells me, he goes, Angelo, he goes, he appreciates the fact that I show him what a businessman can do, diversity that maybe the people are up against and stuff like that. And he goes, you really showed me how you got something and you said, oh, I can improve on it. You didn't settle for, because what was happening before is a lot of guys would tell me to go and get it produced or, packaged somewhere else and stuff like that. And I said, no, man, I want these kids to make money as well in the neighborhood. So remember, it was, and trust me, the Miracle was there, Sybil was there, and Pound was there. And we used to always talk about it, and I would pull my car up. They would give me my boxes of CDs, put them in my trunk. The kids would say, hey, how you doing? He goes, oh man, we got these. We're still right. And they were, I guess, right after school, they would go there and they would work for like 4 hours a day. And obviously I would pay Pound, but Pound would pay them, the 4 kids. And that's how we all kind of were talking about the mixtape and CD business. And I remember, you're right, about Miracle mixing tapes and doing the juke and doing the freestyle. And I remember that they were, and at that time, that was big money, for everybody, all the DJs. But I remember that was Time to Pound. That was that was the place that we used to always be at. I was there almost every day. Yeah. I remember that.
And yeah, we'd go there, we'd eat, chill, hang out, whatever. And yeah, Miracle and Pound would just be up there, on the 4th track or whatever, doing their thing. And I'm just popping out mixtape after mixtape after mixtape. I'm like, God, Jesus, man. I mean, hours on Pound, days they'd be in there. I'd be like, did you guys go home and sleep, shower, eat, do something? No, man. I'm half dead, man. But the mixtapes were getting sold, man, and they were great. They were amazing.
Yeah.
So, I really respect them because they, they're true hustlers. And back in the day, and they did it legitly, and they were very successful about it. And I mean, we're all around because we never dicked anybody over. You know what I'm saying? We're always respectful and always throw, shouts out to, everybody, in the old school world. We all built this together, man. We're one family, as I said.
So, Al, did me and you meet? Did we ever meet there personally? Did we meet there at the shop, or did we meet after that?
I think, you know what, man, to be honest with you, we probably crossed paths several times. I don't know, man. Sometimes I get people that, hey, man, we were introduced a while ago, but, I look at them and I'm bad with names, man. I'm sorry. I'm horrible with names. And 99% of the faces that I see got lights, shining on it. So it's like, hey, what's up? And then, 8-9 beers later, a couple shots, man, everything's the same. But yeah, so I mean, yeah, we probably crossed paths some a couple times down the line, but
I was wondering if it was there at Pound, if that's where we met.
Probably, man. I mean, dude, there were so many people in and out of that store, man. I mean,
oh
probably.
My God.
I could barely remember what I did last week, man, in my old age, man. So unfortunately, with everybody that came to that store in all hours of the time, man, I swear to God, man. You would think that place was a drug house, but it wasn't, man.
I trust me, I know that. I remember that, and that's what I really enjoyed, the fact that, and honestly, if that was going on, I would not have my product there, and I wouldn't have those kids working for me, because I knew that, they were good kids. They were and the 4 kids, I forgot their name, but Jason is the one who basically, shouts out to Jason if he's online. He's the one who kept with me after he graduated from high school and he graduated from college and he got his master's and stuff like that. He's always, I ran into him a couple of times. Him and another guy that he used to hang out with. I ran into always over at the Puerto Rican festival. He was always there, and he tells people the story. Hey man, I used to work for this guy packaging his CDs back in 2001, 2002. And he was, like I said, he was a little 10-year-old, 11-year-old kid. But think about it. We kept him off the streets. He didn't do any of the gang banging or anything like that. He turned out to be a good kid. And I think that was one of the music, because it kept a lot of kids occupied and not getting in trouble. And I think that's a good message for anybody that's out there, or like anybody want. I think that if you wanted, and I give that also credit, like just tell me about his parents. If you want to DJ, he had to really practice. It wasn't like it was not a game or anything like that. So I think that was, as long as you had your family support it and do it, I think that all in this life, because there's a lot of, as one of the guys said, there's a lot of devils out there. And if your son or daughter said, hey, I want to be a DJ, if you want to be a DJ, these are the pros and these are the cons, but don't go, there's other worse situations out there in the streets.
Oh man.
And you want to make sure that everybody's safe and doing what they're.
And on that note, man, I can't thank my parents enough, man, for the support and everything. And being a young Hispanic male, back in the day, even today, man, I mean, it's not as bad as what it was back in the day. I mean, as far as gangs are concerned, they're pretty much, I mean, they're still out there, but it's pretty much not as bad as back in the day, you know what I mean? I have to definitely thank my parents for, allowing me to do this and supporting me to do this whole thing, man. Because my life probably would have been a lot worse, you know what I'm saying, if I'd gotten into the wrong hands, just like a lot of other guys, So definitely, that passion definitely saved me, and it's actually blessed me because I'm 43 now and I'm still doing it, man. So I can't complain. I can't complain.
Right. I mean, like I said, God bless your parents, and God bless, and that's everybody. I think everybody, as far as DJ wise and stuff like that, I think that helps out. And sometimes we don't tell our parents enough, but I think we should tell them and say, hey, thank you. Trust me, I give my parents some shit too, as well, because I remember when I decided to do this full time and I quit my daytime job, I remember my mom and dad telling me, are you fucking nuts? You're going to give up an $80,000 job to do this, for playing records? And I go, no, this is not just playing records, because I went into it full business wise. And, and I was selling my mixtapes and CDs and stuff like that. And I remember in this studio here that we're in right now, this was my full studio. This used to be my full studio. I used to have the Juno 101 here. I used to have the 808 here. I used to have full studio, and I had my computer here as well. And I used to do all the remixes off of here. And I remember my dad, he's upstairs. He used to tell me, walk in the room here, and he seen the work, see all the CDs that all the guys from Time to Pound, he see them all stacked up there, and he see invoices. And he's like, oh my God, you're really good at this. And I said, yeah, Dad, because I knew what I go, but I'm going to tell you that when I first started this at 14 years old, I had my first turntable. Thank you very much. That's something at 14, and here I got my whole studio. It's built. And I says, Dad, I guess the message is that if you let your children believe what they're going to do, and it's going to be some art, and let's be honest, DJ is an art. I think that's a good thing, because that's what carries a lot of kids from not doing stupid stuff out there, and continuing with their art. And this is an art, and I believe it. It's an art,
Right, definitely, yeah. It's an art and a blessing for sure, man. Because a lot of guys, I mean, they tried, and they just give up. A lot of people giving up, man. I got it. It's an expensive hobby too, man. So definitely an expensive. But again, if you're serious about it, you'll definitely make your money back. You put in what you put in what you get. As they always say. So you put in your all, and you'll get your all.
So after so what have you been doing in the recent years now?
Oh man, been working with Park Tavern. Been at Park Tavern for what, 6 years now. I've been in the Rosemont area, doing that stuff. I'm at Adobe Gillis too as well. My buddy, good friend Tommy over at Bounce. So, me and Tommy have been friends, and I've always followed him wherever he's gone. So he's over at Bounce. So he gives me, some shots over there every once in a while. Still doing my mobile gigs. Doing a lot of weddings. I work in conjunction alongside my two right hand guys, which is it's actually three guys. Point, I got DJ Miracle, and then I got Sean the DJ. Those guys, we primarily work on weddings and private events, stuff like that. So that's pretty much where the money's at. It's a lot more work per se, but at the end of the day, it's a lot shorter time and a lot more money. So that's pretty much what we're going to. The clubs, I'm sorry, man, but they're not the same, man. It's not, it's never going to be the same, I don't know. It's just, I don't know.
Well, why?
For all this, man, I'm pretty scared. I'm kind of shaking to see what's going to happen after this whole ripple effect. You know what I'm saying?
You're talking about the COVID, right? You're talking about the COVID thing.
Right.
Right. That was going to be my next question. Is that so? Before we go into that, another thing that you just did, there are a lot of people that don't realize. So I ran into you probably about, I want to say it's about 5 years ago at Dylan's.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, right, because I didn't realize you're working with what's his name, Lewis.
Yeah, Gear Club, because you're doing music and sound installation. That's also something else you do, right? Yes, correct. Yeah, running low voltage guy, Cat 5 wiring, stuff like that, hooking up sound systems. Yeah, it's another passion that I have.
Okay. So. That's got to be good. That's got to, but it's just not clubs, right? It's anybody that wants a sound system.
I did everything from, houses, home theater systems to big clubs, churches, restaurants. We did it all, man. And they got some of the best installers around, man. Seriously. Some of the guys over there, Edgar, Lewis is a great installer. Lewis actually knows a lot of stuff. So, I send everybody over there that I can, man. They're good guys over there. So.
Oh, trust me. My gear and stuff like that are from Lewis as well. So if anybody asks me where they can get a system, they see me DJing and stuff like that, because I bring my system, my DJ SZ, and I always tell them, hey, Lewis, Gear Club, that's where you want to go and stuff like that. So he has the best stuff, and he's always calling me, and they're really good in supporting. Also, like if a speaker goes out or something, a button is not working right, I drop it off to me, calls me up the next day, hey, come pick it up and stuff like that. So I know there's a lot of support. And there's a good crew of guys that work there too. DJ Orr was working there as well. There was quite a few people that were working there as well that I knew. I ran into Scott Smoking Sills there, and Farley, and a bunch of guys they're always in and out of there. So there's quite a who's who in the music world that's walking in those doors. So
right,
I know it's
surprised.
And if
who you see, who would stop in every once in a while. But yeah, a lot of big names would go there, man. When Sharon, Sharon obviously he still owns it. He's still around. You see Sharon, man. All the way down from audio lines over on Belmont. You go from audio lines, and then from Gear Club and the whole 9 yards, and it was pretty cool, man. It was cool. It was back in the day when they had a little store over there,
Right.
I dealt with them all the way from back in those days, and I still do, man. They're good guys. Definitely. Lewis is a ball buster. Lewis, you're a ball buster. But yeah, at the end of the day, he's a good guy. He's all right. He's all right.
Lewis, well, I knew Lewis when he was DJing for V5. That's how I met him. It's the DJ Focus, yeah, exactly. So good guy, always a good guy and stuff like that. He was, I don't know if you know that a lot of people assume because it was, four fantastic and V5. But I was friends with all the DJs. I didn't care who you work with and stuff like that. I guess I was a little different because I was a DJ and a promoter, where some promoters are just promoters and some DJs are just DJs. I was able to recognize. Oh, I was able to recognize that. I was able to recognize the worth of DJs as well. I would deal with both of them. So I was happy that I was, I didn't care what crew you were with or what promotion company you were with. You're still a DJ to me. You're still a human being to me. It isn't like I could care less if this guy does this party or that guy does this party and my party doesn't do well one day and his party does better than me. I could care less, man. For me, it's about the love of music. And and if you got a floor hyped up, because I've been there at your place at Rosemont. I've been there when I forgot why I was there. I was there and I remember it was like, oh my God, this is crowded. It's like, and the crowd in Rosemont is different than downtown crowd. It's a completely different crowd.
Oh yeah, yeah. Because at that point, Rosemont is such a melting pot because of it's centrally located. You have every expressway, everything from north to south to west. Sorry about that.
Yeah, go ahead. You were saying about the melting pot. What was that?
It's definitely a melting pot, man, and it's a great area to hang out and chill and come out, and it did its justice. We still got people that are coming out, and it's still doing good.
Okay, so I'm gonna honestly use a comparison to what Rosemont, your place, is like, almost like what Rush Street used to have, because Rush Street used to have Eddie Rockets, Mothers. There was like a club, like one to the other. They were totally different, and that was one of the things that Rosemont had. That right there, and that by the movie complex there and stuff like that, you basically could club hop to different places and stuff like that, and that's a big advantage because I think you had a country place that was there, right there across the street or around next club or something like that. It was a country place as well.
Yeah, I was Toby Keith.
Toby Keith, yeah. So that was cool because people would like, okay, well, let's do this for an hour. Let's go over here an hour, and let's go over here. Oh, let's go back to over here, and you didn't have to drive. That's kind of the cool thing and stuff like that. Whereas
they would let you actually walk out with your beer, and you can actually, as long as you don't walk out of the park, you can walk inside the park. So summertime, people would be outside hanging out, whatever. As long as you had it in a pip or a plastic cup. So it was definitely different over there. So
I guess that's an advantage of Rosemont compared to Chicago. They won't let you do that. That's a good advantage.
Right. The mayor also owned that complex, so you know what I'm saying. So whatever he says goes, right? He's the boss. He's the mayor. So he owns the park over there.
So with this COVID, since you mentioned it, everybody, and you would have told me, but everybody's healthy, everybody's good in your head, right? Everybody, you got your.
Yeah. You know what, man? Yes, thank God, everybody's good. Everybody's good.
Right. So, and then now you're live streaming.
Mm-hmm.
You're live streaming. That's been the big part of what you're doing now, right?
Actually, man, it was, but unfortunately, with Facebook cracking down on everything going on, I did a live stream. When was it? Probably Wednesday, Thursday, I believe it was, and I got booted out. You know what I mean? But I didn't get any error. They tell it. Hey, you got booted because of this. They're actually, excuse me, they're not sending out those messages anymore. So I didn't get them. So I did another live stream. I think it was Friday night, and then I got booted. And then they said, oh, you're temporarily blocked from using live for for the notice. Well, I got kind of upset because I was playing a lot of remixes and old school stuff, and just going through some stuff, and that shouldn't be, I know it's copywritten, but it shouldn't be, on a popularity scale. You know what I'm saying? As far as their library. So yeah, I that happened, and then they gave me my life back, and I was like, all right, cool. I'm just gonna chill out for a little while. And then I went back live, and I guess they're only giving you now once you get blocked, and they give you your live back. I guess they only give you like less than 2 minutes to do a live. So that's what I got, 2 minutes. And I did it twice, and it stopped at 2 minutes. So that's what I'm guessing.
That's with music or any live. Will they do that with you? Anything live?
What do you mean? Oh yeah, anything. I mean, I was on there talking, and it cut off, without me even having any music behind there. So it's like they time it out. They only 1.5 minutes to 2 minutes, I think it was. And like I said, I did it a couple times just to test it out and see what was going on, to see maybe they lifted it or anything like that. No, nothing. It goes for 2 minutes and then stops. So yeah, I'm guessing. I mean, I get it. Facebook isn't they don't have their licenses. It's not like they have their own licenses for ASCAP. They're not even supposed to be letting people do this, and they can get in trouble for it. If I was reading up on it, and they they don't have any licensing or anything like that. So obviously, BMI, Sony, ASCAP, all that stuff will go after them, for not paying attention to the rules.
Right. And from my understanding that everything's done by algorithms. It's not there's not somebody like click,
There's nobody sitting like you right now with a pair of headphones sitting at a computer saying, oh, there you go. Oh, some Britney Spears or, some Katy Perry or whatever,
Right.
Yeah, it's definitely algorithms that they're using right now. And obviously the softwares and the computers are so high tech now that, I mean, they're picking up stuff that I was messing around. I was trying to trick the trick. And I was doing echoes and trying to, go through flanges and, and trying to do some other stuff on a regular song just to see if it would pick it up. And Lord and behold, it picked it up. And I used it. I was using actually my wife's Facebook page, so I wouldn't get in trouble. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I mean, girls, they put, songs behind their videos all the time. So
well,
I was like, fuck, whatever. So.
Well, it was funny because I guess Facebook is getting very hyper sensitive about it now.
Yeah.
And I did a recording at Dylan's 2 years ago. I think it was Frankie J. No, it was Luis Molina was playing a bachata song, and I recorded it. Right, I recorded the crowd, and there was a Prince Royce song playing in the background. Right, that was 2 years ago. And literally, like about 2 weeks ago, I got a notice that that the video got muted, and I'm like, wait a minute, this was like, and mind you, we're recording not the song, we're just recording inside the club, and right. I can see there's a lot of people record at the club, and I think that's what's happening now because there's so much. And honestly, I also see a mixed bag of that happening now because sometimes when I do, like right now, sometimes we're going on and off, right? It says sometimes the connection is unstable because there's so many live feeds out there right now because of what's going on in the world that right. I'm sure they're the system was not set up for all these live feeds. I think before this all happened, people, I would say like there were only a few guys that would do live feeds. I've been doing live feeds for the past 3 or 4 years, but as far as every DJ in the whole world doing live feeds, that's crazy. Now that could imagine now you got everybody. It's overwhelming for the system, and then I'm sure their algorithms are going nuts and everything like plop, 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 popping off that, block, 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 block.
Well, it's funny because, I obviously I put the message out yesterday. I went on the live feed and I said, hey guys, sorry, you know what? I'm done for a while. This is frustrating for myself as well as any other DJ. It's like, you're here for, other people, you know, to keep their sanity up. They want to hear the music. Yeah, you can turn on Pandora, you can turn on, you know, B96, you know, TTI, whatever. But it's not the same, man. You know what I'm saying? It's not the same. And
Agree,
I mean,
agree.
phenomenal. DJs are phenomenal. It's just, you know, during the day, you know, it's a repetitive play. And same thing with this. I mean, you know, I keep hearing, oh, you got to put that, you know, I do not own the copyright. No, dude. I mean, they're gonna flag you for that. Just for you writing that is just like, hello. You know, they flag you for that. I mean, there's really no way around it. I mean, you know, everybody's going to Twitch. I mean, you know, Twitch is getting snapped off too right now.
Exactly. I know that.
You know, everybody right now is stuck at home, so everybody's trying to do, you know, what they can to keep their sanity and you know, keep relevant in the game, which, hey, man, I applaud you guys, man. Congratulations. I love you guys.
Well,
I mean, at the same time, I'm oh, wow.
Well, Al, that's why I'm here talking to you, and I've been doing this show because, in technical terms, this is going back 2 weeks ago when I was decided to do a live, you know, live stream as well. I kept telling everyone that my close knit, you know, Lewis, Johnny, and Frankie J and stuff like that. I kept telling them, I said, listen, I don't want to be this live stream guy. I really don't. Because I never did it, and I really didn't want to do it. And that's not. And I says, there's a lot of guys that have done it. Hey, you know. So when I decided to do the show, the front door. That was why I did it, because exactly what you said, and it conveys that whole message. We want to bring entertainment. We want people to bring joy into their lives and stuff like that. And I kept thinking, well, you know, I think this would be different than the live streaming per se, as far as music. Why don't I talk to the guys, all the guys that I know, because I know quite a few DJs. I know a lot of producers and a lot of music people in this business. But just the fact that hearing your story, you know, and I have all the time, DJs tell me all the time, they said, man, you know, we love to hear the stories about everybody else because that gives a lot of inspiration to a lot of people out there. You know, just to hear somebody's story, hear their success, hear their failures, hear their ups and downs of in this business and the industry, because I think we will learn from each other no matter what. And live stream, listen, I know, I hear a guy DJing, live streaming, it ain't gonna teach me anything.
Right,
okay?
Right.
Can teach something. And I think that's important for this message out there, because we can, you know, I believe that what you said about your past, what you said all the way up to right now, what you're doing, is you're just not, you know, there are many facets of your life that make you who you are, and that's cool. And I think people will appreciate that, and I hope people will look at you now and say, oh wow, now when they see you DJing live, when they're back in the club, when they're back see you live, I hope that really people get to see you in a different way than they've seen you behind the computer and DJing in the recent past.
Right.
That's
and you know what? That's how I've always been, though. I mean, I've you know, obviously into the DJ life. I mean, it's never been easy. It's never been easy. I mean, it's been hard, but to have somebody have your back and push you through and help you through that, which again, I've met a lot of guys throughout the years. All over the world, man. I mean, you know, and as long as you're humble, there is no freaking reason why anybody would turn their back on you. I get phone calls every day. You know, hey, you know, something's wrong with my sound system. Hey, I mean, you know, what's going on here? You know, if I can't answer the question, I will get you an answer, and/or I will send you to the right guy. So you're you know, I got guys that inbox me all the time. I mean, you know, when I started working with OBS, which shouts out to two of my partners for helping me with that. You know, they were asking me, hey man, how'd you do that? How'd you do this? And you know what? Here you go. You know what? I mean, you know, we got to help each other. If we can't help each other, who else is going to do it? I mean, you know, back in our day, again, like I said, there was no YouTube, there was no internet. You know what I'm saying? So we had to either figure it out. It was sink or swim, man. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of the older guys, shouts out to Rip and Al. He showed me a lot. That he let me DJ some parties with Bad Boy Bill, stuff like that. Back in when I was in high school, man, that was an honor, man. That was an honor.
What was that? Would you consider that your highlight? Would you consider that your highlight?
That was definitely that was definitely one of my highlights for sure. Definitely one of my highlights, man. To DJ, I was doing good council parties. St. Gregory's, those were my parties back in the days. Shouts out to Father Mark, over at St. Greg's. He gave me the shot over there. And I honestly, St. Greg's was only supposed to be like, a one-off thing. And it just snowballed. And we did it for 5 years. Okay. At least, once, twice a month, and it was pretty cool, in the basement. And the stories just out of there was crazy. We were pumping so hard. We had a speaker actually physically catch on fire. Back days, we were careless. It was like, whatever, red line, but there's more power. You know what I'm saying? We didn't care. You know what I'm saying? We were a bunch of teenagers. So red line said, oh, well, we got, it's not fully red. We still got that, we still got that much left,
I think all of us have.
And I remember, man. If you remember, I remember my dad's garage, man. All the blown speaker cones that were just as far as I could see, I was constantly, I should have gotten stock in those things from all the speakers that I've blown, all the equipment that I messed up, well, it is what it is. You live and you learn.
And here you are fixing. I guess. No. And I guess that's how you learn to do your wiring and all the, the stuff that so it taught you, from doing all that fixing that you had to do to what your installs and stuff like that. I'm sure that all of those past experiences taught you be a better technician, per se.
Oh yeah, for sure, definitely. That and Gear Club taught me a lot too, man. Life teaches you everything, man. And it's what you dig into is what you're gonna learn. So every day in the DJ world is a learning experience. On new equipment, on new techniques, and stuff like that. So I haven't practiced in a while, and especially with these lives, and I set everything up, and my wife's like, yeah, go ahead, do it. Why not? All right. I said, all right, cool, no problem. And I just started with my DDJ. That was it. And now, I got the 12s up and running. I took them apart. I put new cables on them. I did some stuff that was slacking on. And I got my full studio up in less than a week. I was just like, where did all this come from? I'm like, oh, well, fine, whatever. I guess I was bored.
So do you still play vinyl?
Yeah, I still play vinyl. The majority of the vinyl is in a storage right now, so I really haven't played it in a while. But yeah, I still got some of my crates. A lot of my stuff got damaged in a flood in my mom's basement. So after that,
don't tell me about that. I lost all my vinyl in a flood, so it's heartbreaking.
It's definitely heartbreaking, and at that time, somebody moved it from the shelf to the floor, and never said anything. We're supposed to put it back on the shelf, but never did. So yeah, I lost about 6 or 7 crates.
You talk about it. I'm sure all the DJs that are listening are like, oh, oh.
The stuff we've lost. I remember a story, and I'm not naming names, but yeah, there were back in the days when we had the big Grundoff fly cases, the carpeted fly cases with the 212s and your PPD mixer. Well, one of the guys didn't lock the other side, I guess, drinking too much, and they were walking down the stairs, and I guess they tilted it, and both 12s came and just all the way down the stairs. Well, I'm sitting at the end of the flying, bro. Those are my 12s, man. So yeah, those things were destroyed. They were destroyed. They were done. The tone arms were so bent, and they were.
Oh my God.
They were like, oh, sorry, but at that point in time, I went, oh my God, man. But it is what it is. From speakers catching on fire, from lending out equipment and never getting it back. you know.
Oh.
You know, you live it, yeah. You know, yeah, and
DJ
all that.
Stokes.
It's like, okay, appreciate it. No problem.
Cool. Hey, we're past our time. Hey, Al, thank you very much. I hope it was fun for you.
Hey, man. Hey, it was an honor. Thank you very much, man. I appreciate it. Seriously.
Hey, guys, don't forget that this is the front door show. After this is done, then I'll set up the replay and stuff like that, and then just let you know everything is archived, and I'll send you the archive page as well, Al. All right. Any last words to the audience?
And thank you, guys. Thank you, P, man. I appreciate it, man. Seriously, it means a lot for you to, you know, have me on your show as well. Shout out to everybody out there, my friends, family, everybody. I love you guys. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll talk soon.
Peace.